Music. Talk. News. On user track player.
User track player. User track player. Dinner time. Now it's time for 6 p.m. The time now is saying why party here. Dinner time. Dinner time. Dinner time.
面对面坐着，眼神不屑一顾，挤出的笑容看起来好突兀。我走错一步，坠入万丈深谷。
还是会想起你的荒唐糊涂，真刚刺在心上，血流已如注。背叛了幸福，拿爱当赌注，
曾把感情放逐，
可是难结束。
遇到你我想停止游，
让爱归真返航，
要不会落幕，承诺说的那么铭心刻骨，你的眼泪让我无助，
你懂不懂我为爱忍辱，努力学习宽恕，
原谅那错误，
不甘我们的爱死在半途，
你的心还在哭，
忘不记痛蔓延速度，希望你能觉悟，
我真的领悟，伤口慢慢愈合，再被爱包覆。
还是会想起你的荒唐糊涂，针钢刺在心上，血流已如注，背叛了幸福，拿爱当赌注，
曾把感情放逐，
可是难结束。
遇到你我想停止游牧，
让爱归真返璞，
要不会落幕，承诺说的那么铭心刻骨，你的眼泪让我无助，
你懂不懂我为爱忍辱，努力学习宽恕，
原谅那错误，
不甘我们的爱死在半途，
你的心还在哭，
忘不记痛蔓延速度，希望你能觉悟，
我真的领悟，伤口慢慢愈合，再被爱包覆，你的眼泪让我无助，
你懂不懂我为爱忍辱，努力学习宽恕，
原谅那错误，
不甘我们的爱死在半途，
你的心还在哭，
忘不记痛蔓延速度，希望你能觉悟，
我真的领悟，伤口慢慢愈合，再被爱包覆。 मेरी izlay Lirikme birbirinize Wabibni divinity Night le twas fine
User track player.
User track player.
Traffic update.
The car broke down at the exit of Orchard Road. At the Pioli Bar intersection, there are many cars before the PIE intersection. There are many cars at the KJE exit, the traffic accident at the Nickel Highway exit, the AYE exit, the traffic accident at the SLE intersection, and the TPE intersection. Unexpectedly, there was heavy traffic at the Newton exit.
User track player traffic update is brought to you by Volkswagen. Volkswagen Beetle, the other diesel. The Beetle sedan must be out of traffic, so change to innovation and go forward. Get for Volkswagen Center Singapore for a test drive now.
Volkswagen, das Auto.
It's not a cat, it's Hazard Pop songs, when light it up. Only on User Track Player.
6:10 p.m.
User Track Player Time Report is brought to you by Coltex. Coltex Go. Our stations may get busy sometimes, and that means physical payments can create congestion at the cashier area. As we continue to practice social distancing, we strongly encourage all drivers to make contactless payment via our Coltex Go app. Only at Coltex.
We're now the user track player dinner time story time. I'm Evan J. I listened to the story for the Cinderella. Cinderella. Once upon a time a girl named Cinderella lived with her stepmother and two stepsisters. Poor Cinderella had to work hard all day long so the others could rest. It was she who had to wake up each morning when it was still dark and cold to start the fire. It was she who cooked the meals. It was she who kept the fire going. The poor girl could not stay clean from all the ashes and cinders by the fire. What a mess. Her two stepsisters laughed, and that is why they called her Cinderella. One day, big news came to town. The king and queen were going to have a ball. It was time for the prince to find a bride. All of the young ladies in the land were invited to come. They were wild with joy. They would wear their most beautiful gown and fix their hair extra nice. Maybe the prince would like them. At Cinderella's house, she now had extra work to do. She had to make two brand new gowns for her stepsisters. Faster! Shouted one stepsister. You call that a dress? Screamed the other. Oh, dear, said Cinderella. When can I? The stepmother marched into the room. When can you what? Well, said the girl, when will I have time to make my own dress for the ball? You? Yelled the stepmother. Who said you were going to the ball? What a laugh, said one stepsister. Such a mess. They pointed at Cinderella. All of them laughed. Cinderella said to herself, when they look at me, maybe they see a mess, but I am not that way, and if I could, I would go to the ball. Soon the time came for the stepmother and stepsisters to leave for the big party. Their fine carriage came to the door. The stepmother and stepsisters hopped inside, and they were off. Goodbye, called Cinderella. Have a good time. But her stepmother and stepsisters did not turn around to see her. Ah, me, said Cinderella sadly. The carriage rolled down the street. She said aloud, I wish I could go to the ball, too. Then, poof, all of a sudden, in front of her was a fairy. You called? Said the fairy. Did I? Said Cinderella. Who are you? Why, your fairy godmother. Of course, I know your wish, and I have come to grant it. But a broken bar, said Cinderella. My wish is impossible. Excuse me, said the fairy godmother in a huff. Did I not just show up out of thin air? Yes, you did, said Cinderella. Then let me be the one to say what is possible or not. Well, I think you know I want to go to the ball, too. She looked down at her dirty clothes. But look at me, you do look a bit of a mess, child, said the fairy godmother. Even if I had something nice to wear, said the girl, I would have no way to get there. Dear me, all of that is possible, said the fairy. With that, she taped her wand on Cinderella's head. At once, Cinderella was all clean. She was dressed in a beautiful blue gown. Her hair was set up high on her head inside a golden band. This is wonderful, said Cinderella. Who said I was done? Said the fairy godmother. She tapped her wand again. At once, a beautiful carriage came to be, with a driver and 4 white horses. Am I dreaming? Said Cinderella, looking around her. It is as real can be, said the fairy godmother. But there is one thing you must know. What is that? All of this lasts only to midnight. Tonight, at the stroke of midnight, it will all be over. Everything will go back to how it was before. Then I must be sure to leave the ball before midnight, said Cinderella. Good idea, said the fairy godmother. She stepped back. My work is done. And with that, the fairy godmother was gone. Cinderella looked around her. Did that even happen? But there she stood in a fine gown, and with the golden band in her hair. And there were her driver and 4 horses before her, waiting. Coming? Called the driver. She stepped into the carriage, and they were off. Over at the ball, the prince did not know what to think. Why do you have that sad look on your face? The queen said to her son. Look around you. You could not ask for finer maidens than these. I know, mother, said the prince. Yet he knew something was wrong. He had met many of the young women. Yet after he said hello, one by one, he could find nothing more to say. Look, someone pointed to the front door. Who is that? All heads turned. Who was that lovely maiden stepping down the stairs? She held her head tall and looked as if she belonged, but no one knew her. There is something about her, said the prince to himself. I will ask her to dance. And he walked over to Cinderella. Have we met? Said the prince. I am pleased to meet you now, said Cinderella with a boo. I feel as if I know you, said the prince. But of course, That is impossible. Many things are possible, said Cinderella, if you wish them to be true. The prince felt a leap in his heart. He and Cinderella danced. When the song was over, they danced again, and then they danced again, and yet again. Soon the other maidens at the ball grew jealous. Why is he dancing all the time with her? They said, how rude. But all the prince could see was Cinderella. They laughed and talked, and they danced some more. In fact, they danced for so long that Cinderella did not see the clock. Dong, said the clock. Cinderella looked up. Dong, went the clock again. She looked up again. Oh, my. She cried out, it is almost midnight. Dong, rang the clock. Why does that matter? Said the prince. Dong, call the clock. I must go, said Cinderella. Dong, went the clock. But we just met, said the prince. Why leave now? Dong, rang the clock. I must go, said Cinderella. She ran to the steps. Dong, said the clock. I cannot hear you, said the prince. The clock is too loud. Dong, rang the clock. Goodbye, said Cinderella. Up the stairs she ran. Dong, went the clock. Please, stop for a moment, said the prince. Oh, dear, she said as one glass slipper fell off her foot on the stair. But Cinderella kept running up. Dong, said the clock. Please wait a moment, said the prince. Dong, rang the clock. Goodbye. Cinderella turned one last time, then she rushed out the door. Dong, the clock was quiet. It was midnight. Wait, called the prince. He picked up her glass slipper and rushed out the door. He looked around but could not see her blue dress anywhere. This is all I have left from her, he said, looking down at the glass slipper. He saw that it was made in a special way, to fit a foot like none other. Somewhere there is the other glass slipper, he said, and when I find it, I will find her, too. Then I will ask her to be my bride. From hut to hut, from house to house, went the prince. One young woman after another tried to fit her foot inside the glass slipper, but none could fit, and so the prince moved on. At last the prince came to Cinderella's house. He is coming, called one stepsister as she looked out the window. At the door, screamed the other stepsister. Quick, yelled the stepmother, get ready. One of you must be the one to fit your foot in that slipper, no matter what. The prince knocked. The stepmother flew open the door. Come in, she said. I have two lovely daughters for you to see. The first stepsister tried to place her foot in the glass slipper. She tried hard, but it just would not fit. Then the second stepsister tried to fit her foot inside. She tried and tried with all her might, too, but no dice. Are there no other young women in the house? Said the prince. None, said the stepmother. Then I must go, said the prince. Maybe there is one more, said Cinderella, stepping into the room. I thought you said there were no other young women here, said the prince. None who matter, said the stepmother in a hiss. Come here, said the prince. Cinderella stepped up to him. The prince got down on one knee and tried the glass slipper on her foot. It fit perfectly. Then, from her pocket Cinderella took out something. It was the other glass slipper. I knew it, he cried. You are the one. What? Shouted a stepsister. Not her, screamed the other stepsister. This cannot be, yelled the stepmother, but it was too late. The prince knew that Cinderella was the one. He looked into her eyes. He did not see the cinders in her hair or the ashes on her face. I have found you, he said. And I have found you, said Cinderella. And so Cinderella and the prince were married, and they lived happily ever after. The story has now finished. We'll be right back after this messages.
Oh, excuse me, this is a supermarket. You two need to get a room.
No, we don't. Renegade.
Oh, God, you smell incredible. Maybe I'll join in.
Renegade Cologne, for the man who wants to reek of masculinity. Nobody tells a renegade what to do.
Sir, that tree is not a bathroom.
Oh, really?
Ow, not on my shoes!
Renegade. The renegade man goes where he wants, for the smell of an individual. It's Renegade.
Or instead of Renegade, try Sweat, the cologne for the animal inside. It's real sweat, because nothing attracts women like a sweaty man.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the Wacky Waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the Wacky Waterfall.
It's a shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com, then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Wow. Here at Brian at Night for this year 2021.
I am playing songs for the Listen to Radio in Singapore.
I am going to sleep and listen songs in the bedroom.
User track player presence. Brian at Night.
I take the teenager has been by a bicycle.
We're talk to Brian at the radio station in Brian at Night.
The 2 artists have been here. Tuesday, 10 p.m.
Hello, I am Hong Jun Rui.
Thursday, 10 p.m.
Hi, I am Lenny Heng. We have an appointment with you. User track player, Brian at Night.
Newsletter preview tell you now. Quarantine for COVID-19 vaccinated visitors to Hong Kong, including those from Singapore, cut by 7 days. Travelers who have taken all required doses of the vaccines from low-risk areas will have to serve 7 days of mandatory quarantine instead of 14. From as early as end April or early May, fully vaccinated visitors to Hong Kong will have their mandatory quarantine reduced by 7 days. Man organized a legal event involving over 150 cars just before circuit breaker Yo Cheng Cheng leaving the state courts on April 15, 2021. A man organized a street cars meetup just before the circuit breaker last year, resulting in more than 150 cars showing up at East Coast Park, with the drivers and passengers mingling there. The newsletter was 6:34 p.m. We'll report you details now.
User Track Player Newsletter Preview is brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric. Mitsubishi Electric Star Mex Aircon gives your excellent energy savings, it's easy to clean, and it's same none of the quietest.
User track player.
User Track Player. Traffic update.
At KJE intersection, before Bukitdama intersection, Potong Pasir intersection, Changi intersection, many cars broke down. Punggol exit, Doa Apaya intersection, traffic accidents, many cars. And Mokyo intersection, CTE exit, Admiralty. There was heavy traffic at the intersection and the car broke down.
User Track Player Traffic Update is brought to you by Volkswagen. Volkswagen Beetle the other diesel. The Beetle sedan must be out of traffic, so change to innovation and go forward. Get for Volkswagen Center Singapore for a test drive now.
Volkswagen, das Auto.
User Track Player.
其实我的安静有迹可循，只是你不太留心而已。如果说两个人在一起比一个人孤寂，爱会不会过期？渐渐你成为我布洛克利，被别人越拦截的心情。我听说留言的人会有个面具，那个匿名的会不会就是你？还是介意你的话，总在乎一切变化，介意你的爱的想法，可我有了分岔。我介意你没忘了他，介意你还放不下。 的想法和我有了反差。我建议你别忘了他，建议你还放不下，该迁就还是一笑而罢。 原来太理智只会让自己更伤痛。我知道没有用，心会盲目跟踪，就像停不下来的时钟。那回忆被你拆封，却写不上被爱的内容。我知道他的笑从来在你眼中，我的快乐一直被尘封，黑夜画不出彩虹。 想停不下来的执着，那回忆被人拆开，却是不想被爱的内容。我知道他的笑从来在你眼中，我的快乐一直被尘封，黑夜画不出彩虹，像我的爱飞不进你的梦，黑夜画不出彩虹，像我的爱飞不进你的梦。
World's first apple cider vinegar gummy. Taste the apple, not the vinegar. Pectin is recognized as an important prebiotic that supports healthy flourishing of the gut flora, ultimately providing a beneficial environment in the gut. Only from Herbal Farm.
Time, brought to you by Herbal Farm. Herbal Farm, the greatest wealth is health. Please call 67490004.
Realizing the situation, believing in the terrace, and pouring into chapters is time-consuming. User Track Player Newsletter.
Evan J. Now the newsletter. Quarantine for COVID-19 vaccinated visitors to Hong Kong, including those from Spore, cut by 7 days. Travelers who have taken all required doses of the vaccines from low-risk areas will have to serve 7 days of mandatory quarantine instead of 14. From as early as end April or early May, fully vaccinated visitors to Hong Kong will have their mandatory quarantine reduced by 7 days. For travelers from low-risk areas including Singapore, Australia and New Zealand who have taken all required doses of the vaccines, their mandatory quarantine in designated hotels will be 7 days instead of 14. For those from high and medium risk areas, they will serve a 14-day quarantine instead of 21 days. All of these inoculated visitors will have to self-monitor for another 7 days after their quarantine, the Hong Kong government said in a release late on Wednesday, April 14th. The 21-day compulsory quarantine requirement for Hong Kong residents who fly back to the city from elsewhere, with the exception of China, remains. Starting from Wednesday, there will be a 14-day ban on any flight that has 3 or more confirmed cases of COVID-19, up from the previous threshold of 5 cases. Cases are detected as passengers arriving in Hong Kong have to undergo mandatory tests. The ban will also apply if 2 or more passengers on any 2 flights of the same airline from the same place to Hong Kong within a 7-day period are found to have the virus. Previously, the threshold was 3 infected passengers on 2 consecutive flights. The 14-day flight ban also applies for another existing criteria that remains unchanged. At least 1 passenger confirmed to have COVID-19 by arrival test is on the same flight with 1 other passenger who breaches measures under the cross-boundary traveler laws. To keep the COVID-19 variant 10501YA discovered in South Africa out of Hong Kong as much as possible, the government said that any airline that has 5 confirmed cases or more of this virus variant will be banned from landing in the city for 14 days. The government will then list the place where the plane took off from as an extremely high-risk area, which will restrict persons who have stayed in that place for more than 2 hours from boarding passenger flights to Hong Kong for 14 days. The statement said the move is to prevent persons from the relevant place from arriving in Hong Kong via transit, but once the 14-day period is over and the area is downgraded from extremely high risk to very high risk, visitors can enter Hong Kong again, and will have to undergo the 21-day quarantine. The development comes as Singapore and Hong Kong are finalizing the details of the travel bubble where passengers will have to get tested to take the direct flights. Under the agreement, these visitors will not have to serve any quarantine. In March, Hong Kong proposed that passengers intending to take the Singapore-Hong Kong bubble flights be vaccinated prior to their trip. This week, Chief Executive Carrie Lam said Hong Kong will impose the vaccination requirement on people flying out of the city on the travel bubble flights. Hong Kong's daily infections have tapered to low single digits, with most of the cases in recent weeks imported. there have been more than 11,600 confirmed cases and 209 deaths so far. Hong Kong officials, troubled with the sluggish vaccination rate, are now aggressively pushing for residents to get the jabs by lowering the age limit. From next Friday, residents aged 16 to 29 can book appointments. Currently, only people aged 30 and above can go for the jabs. Those aged 18 or above can choose to take either the German-made Pfizer-BioNTech or Chinese Sinovac jabs. Those aged 16 and 17 will have to show parental consent and can only receive the Pfizer jabs. More than 950,000 doses of vaccines have been administered to a population of 7.5 million. To incentivize inoculation, Mrs. Lam on Monday said the government will ease social distancing measures for those who are fully vaccinated. The move to extend dine-in services and triple the cap on number of patrons per table at an eatery where staff and customers have taken their jabs also comes as pressure mounts on people's livelihoods and for officials to revive the economy. Existing measures, including mask wearing and public gatherings of no more than 4, will last till April 28. Man organized illegal event involving over 150 cars just before circuit breaker. Yeo Jing Chang leaving the state courts on April 15, 2021. A man organized a street cars meetup just before the circuit breaker last year, resulting in more than 150 cars showing up at East Coast Park, with the drivers and passengers mingling there. Yeo Jing Chang, 31, a car dealer, then arranged for the cars to drive in a convoy to Jalan Bira in Boon Lay. Some later had an illegal street race in Tuas, where more than 100 of the cars gathered. On Thursday, April 15, Yeo pleaded guilty to 1 charge each of breaching a COVID-19 control order, dangerous driving, organizing an event for more than 10 people and obstructing the course of justice. 2 other charges, of giving false information and taking part in the event he organized, will be taken into consideration for sentencing. In March last year, Yeo wanted to organize the event to network for his car dealing business. He made a poster as an open invitation to the illegal event, which was to happen on March 28 last year, around 11 p.m. at the car park of the McDonald's in East Coast Park. He sent the poster to WhatsApp group chats. 4 days before the event, on March 24, the government announced stricter COVID-19 measures, including the prohibition on gatherings of more than 10 people for non-essential purposes. But Yeo did not cancel the event. More than 150 cars showed up on the night of the event, with the drivers and passengers of these vehicles mingling for about an hour. Yeo then shared information about how to drive to Jalan Bira, and they drove in a convoy to a petrol kiosk in Boon Lay. Yeo heard that there was another gathering at Taas and joined the convoy that drove there. They gathered in Taas South Boulevard, where a few of the drivers held the illegal street race. The traffic police received information about the illegal racing and about illegally modified cars and found more than 100 cars there at about 2:30 p.m. Upon seeing the police, everyone ran to their cars and tried to drive off, but the roads were quickly blocked and those involved stopped for questioning. After the incident, Yeo thanked those who came via post on Facebook. To avoid liability, he told members of his chat group to exit and delete the invitation from the chat, Facebook and other social media platforms. During the circuit breaker period, which was from April 7 to June 1 last year, Yeo was also involved in another car-related incident. In the early hours of May 16, he was part of a convoy of cars that sped along an 11-kilometer stretch of the Marina Coastal Expressway, MCE, and Klang Paya-Lebar Expressway, KPE, including the tunnel. Yeo admitted to have been driving at around 100 km/h. The group was captured speeding by the camera of another car, and the footage uploaded to social media went viral. Yeo saw the video and wanted to avoid being identified, so he removed his car spoiler. When he was called in for questioning by the police 2 days after, he denied being involved, and claimed his spoiler had been removed long ago. He later came clean and admitted his involvement. On Thursday, Deputy Public Prosecutor Stephanie Ko told the court Yeo had a list of antecedents going back to 2007, when he was caught for theft and driving illegally. He also had previous run-ins with the law for obstruction of justice and substance abuse. DPP Co said the event he organized was frivolous and had a high potential for harm. She urged the court to jail him for 5 weeks, fine him $5,000 and disqualify him from driving for 2 years. Yo's case has been adjourned, and he is out on $15,000 bail. He is expected to be back in court on April 25 for sentencing. For organizing the event, which was attended by more than 10 people, he can be jailed for up to 6 months, or fined up to $10,000, or both. For obstructing the course of justice, he can be jailed for up to 7 years, or fined, or both. Newsletter has over. For more information, please log on to this website at 8world.com/news. More details.
User Track Player. User Track Player.
Weather report.
Weather report today is the thundery showers from 1 p.m. for 5 to 29 at Singapore on April 15, 2021. It's 24 degrees in temperature for 34 degrees.
User Track Player weather report is brought to you by SPC. SPC Levo, formulated with advanced friction reduction technology. The improved SPC Levo petrol provides a smoother and more responsive drive, giving you greater fuel savings. SPC keeps getting better.
User Track Player.
User Track Player. Traffic update.
Traffic update at this time, at Cha Chukang intersection, Kranji intersection, before PIE intersection, there are many cars at the TPE exit. At the CTE intersection, at the Yao Chukang intersection, the traffic is heavy at the Havelock Road exit, and at the Pasir Ris intersection, the car broke down. The car broke down at the exit of Shinbaru, and the traffic accident occurred.
User Track Player traffic update is brought to you by Volkswagen. Volkswagen Beetle, the other diesel. The Beetle sedan must be out of traffic, so change to innovation and go forward. Get for Volkswagen Center Singapore for a test drive now.
Volkswagen, das Auto.